The stars were starting to fade as Lian finally left Lydia's wagon. She stopped to stretch her back, and then gratefully accepted a bowl of broth being kept warm by her own acolytes. She was pleased with the children. They had done well in the emergency. The fountain had been cleaned and was flowing. The stock had all been watered and hobbled to graze and rest. Savory broth had been made for the entire camp. Lydia suspected Jothan's wife, Erin, had overseen most of the activity of her children, but still, the camp had been seen to, freeing Sage and herself to attend to Lydia. Lian had seen worse injuries than Lydia's. She hadn't seen people survive those injuries, but she had seen worse. Lydia was so old, dehydrated, and fragile to begin with. Still, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and barring infection, Lydia should recover. Sage was much better with herbs and tinctures than she herself was, the result of which left Lydia sleeping deeply, but Lian was rather proud of her own rows of tidy stitches. Sage's acolyte had been left to clean up the mess of the surgery as Oops. Lian found Jothan watching the flames of the fire heating the broth. Lian related the details of Lydia's injuries to him. He nodded, his eyes never leaving the flames. "And what do we do this day, milady?" Jothan asked quietly. Lian blanched, hoping the firelight would not reveal this. With Lydia incapacitated, Lian was in charge. "We ought to rest for a few days, make repairs, rehydrate," Jothan suggested. "There's a fully trained doctor in Lakeside," Lian countered. "It's another 3 days' journey. If her wounds are infected, it will be too late anyway. And if I fail to make every effort to save her, no one will trust my leadership, thinking I wanted her to die," Lian asserted. "No one is going to want to linger in this ghost village," Jothan conceded. "They took everything when they left, lady. All the pots and pans are gone. The winter rugs are gone, too. And no food was left hanging in the attics." "Well, with everything gone, it seems they chose to leave rather than fleeing suddenly. Perhaps they had a very dry winter and, anticipating the fruitless summer, chose to go north. The arrow on the temple points north, and the rivers we crossed flowing from the north still had water. Still, it's very odd. Very odd indeed."